13.3 Contemporary Issues by Harry Baker. Drugs in sport. Some athletes work hard and train lots to succeed like Jessica Ennis, whereas some people like Dwayne Chambers take drugs to succeed and they don't want to work hard for it. Reasons for and against drugs in sport. 4. So it's the modern sport and culture, so it's the norm. Freedom of choice, so you can choose whether you want to do it. Level playing fields, if everyone does it, it's fine. More entertaining for spectators because they're at high level. Have 2 Olympics, so a clean and an open one. Social factors, so like pressure from coach, friends could make you want to take them. Self-confidence, so if you take them you might feel more confident. Against, so it should be about skill and finesse, so the process of learning. They become addictive, so they might like steal and that to pay for their drugs. Poor people can't afford it, so they might have to steal. And they should have and the clean Olympics, so the oath states about not taking drugs. Positive consequences, so break world records, not specifically linked to football but more athletics because it's more entertaining. Culture, so it's common in some sports, again not football but weightlifting. Better performance, level playing field, so everyone's equal. Less work and training, so quicker to get to a higher standards. More confidence, so psychologically, so it might motivate you more to do better. Beta blockers can help with some sports, so like darts. Masking pain, so physically, so like narcotics, so they can carry on playing. Negative consequences, so banned from competitions, as you can see in the picture. Kolo Toure got a 6-month ban for failing his drug tests, so he got a bad reputation. He became a negative role model. He got publicly embarrassed by the media. Drugs can lead to roid rage. They become addictive, and you could become stripped of your awards. So not specific to football, but in cycling, Lance Armstrong was stripped from his 7 Tour de France titles because he was taking drugs. Solutions, so positive role models are seen to deter people like David Beckham. Negative role models are seen also to show the effect of their life, so like Luis Suarez, he's bitten people and he's also been caught for taking drugs. Another solution is punishment, so fines, prison, banned. Educating people to show the effects of drugs on the body. WADA, so the World Anti-Doping Agency, their main aim is to bring consistency to anti-doping policies. More random drug testing, so footballers are unaware when they'll be tested, and also more money into testing so they can get different tests. So violence in sport, so as you can see, not just so players and spectators can become violent in games. Reasons for violence in sport for the players. So there are many ways players can become aggravated, so other players can wind each other up. Spectators can wind players up by saying things they don't want to hear. Rivalry between big teams like Liverpool and Everton. Officials making decisions against players can make players aggressive. Emotional intensity, so getting into the game and desire to win. So as you can see, Mario Balotelli is emotionally because he lost that game. The nature of the game, so it could be a physical game. Consequences for players, they can become banned, so they might even get fired. They can get booked, they can get a yellow or red card, which will always be against the name. As you can see, Fellaini is getting a red card. They can get fined, so the national governing bodies in football, the FA, can fine players for doing wrong, including Luis Suarez, as he was violent and abusive to another player and he received an 8-week match ban and had to pay £40,000 fine. The media can blow out of a poor proportion, so they can portray it as a lot worse than it is. So as you can see, Luis Suarez has got a dog collar as he bit people. They could also lose sponsorship, so companies don't want negative reputation. Solutions to players being violent, so technology, so more cameras might deter people to act appropriately. Rule changes, so stricter sanctions, zero tolerance. Serve penalties, so they won't want to reform because they'll want to behave. Educating people, so teaching people what is right and wrong. Positive role models are seen, so they might want to act appropriately in front of the media, so they'll get more coverage, like David Beckham. More officials specifically watching for violence, as they can act appropriately with sanctions, as they've seen what's happened. Reasons for violence for spectators, so controversial decisions, so some spectators won't agree with what the rest decisions. The score, so if the team loses they might become upset and become violent. Alcohol and drugs, if they've taken these, it will ration their thinking. Pre-match hypes are so excited they might take out on someone and they might take it the wrong way. Importance of the event, so if it was a final they'll want to win it more. And general life, so they might be a violent person just looking for trouble. Consequences for spectators, so they could get bans, they might be asked to leave the game, not allowed in the stadium again. Police or civil law, so they could be arrested and have to go to court. They're fined, so they might also be asked to pay, or if any equipment is damaged or anything breaks, they may be asked to pay for that. In the Euros last year, Russia was fined thousands of pounds over violence from their fans. Solutions for spectators for violence, so improve facilities to have more space, so people have more space. Control alcohol, so they're only allowed a certain amount in each game. Use CCTV and security to see who starts the fights. Police liaison, so working with clubs to cut down the violence. No alcohol at certain games so people can enjoy the game, so no drunk fights. And more stewards and police so they can control outbursts if happened, so it doesn't get out of hand. Gender in sport. Reasons, so gender roles. So women not allowed, so much of the day is presented by men's, talking about men's football, as you can see in the picture. Sport for men, so this isn't the case in football, but rugby is associated with men's sport, and stereotypically women shouldn't play it. Physically, men are stronger and faster, but this shouldn't mean women can't play certain sports. They should have women's leagues, because that's be a level playing field. Historical sports are aimed for men, so in football it was mobs football and it would played in the streets, quite physical game, while women would stay at home, and this is partly carried on in today's society. Access, so there are a lot more male clubs around. In football, boys can play for their local teams, whereas girls will be able to play up with them up to a certain age, but then they'll have to travel further to find a girls' team. This links to with availability, as there are less clubs for women in football, but in other sports there may be no women's teams at all, like cricket. Consequences: there's inequality between men and women, so there's more media for men and more sponsorship, and women get lower wages. So Brighton footballers, men at a low level get paid, whereas the top league women don't get paid a penny. And male footballers in general get paid millions, far too much, and women footballers have to have other jobs on the side, and it's mostly a hobby. Less girls participate because they feel like they're not good enough, resulting in a lower confidence because they feel like they're not supported enough. Less career opportunities for women, so they don't have the media, so no money is being put into the sport. So the standards of playing between the genders, because men get media, money, sponsorships, they can play at a better standard. Therefore, less media coverage is for women, resulting in less women participating and at a lower standard. Solutions. So there's campaigns to promote women's sports, like This Girl Can, which increase the popularity of women's sports to promote it. So more media exposure, because if they get the media, they'll get more money to improve their standards. Integrate boys and girls at lower level for certain sports so they get equal opportunities to play together. So this is ideal in football. More funding, so they can make more clubs for women, so they get better coaching, resulting in better performance. Education, so the government, parents and peers are teaching people that men and women have the same skills to perform in sports. Mainly the media is a real effect, because this will increase the popularity of women's sports, and then they'll get better performance and more women want to participate. Education and sport. Primary school. So reasons, so the national curriculum, so there's minimum of 2 hours physical education a week, where they learn basic motor skills like throwing and catching for a goalkeeper and kicking a football, and then positive attitudes, so teachers and parents are encouraging their children to do sport. So consequences are more people are involved, so there's a higher chance of competing when older for like local football teams. They'll develop basic motor skills, so which is essential for later in life. Small competitions, so develop competitiveness at a young age. So solutions, teachers could have more advanced training, not specifically aimed at football, but they should learn other sports to widen the children's ability for their skills. And also more money should be put in so they could get better equipment, and it's more fun for the children and they want to participate more. Secondary school. So reasons, so it's more competitive, so there's better competition, so that could be football teams. There's more rules added, so it's more advanced skills that the children need to learn, so like the offsides added in football. And the national curriculum still applies, so they still have to do their 2 hours minimum of physical activity a week. So there are positive and negative consequences to secondary school. Positive is that people are more competitive. Negative are some people will be at a higher level than others. So example, some people will be shooting further away than others from the goal. Another negative is teachers are still teaching at basic levels, basic skills, which could bore some people. So solutions at a secondary school stage, free teaching training courses for teachers, extracurricular clubs, so there could be competitive and non-competitive separate clubs to allow everyone to join in, like a ladder tournament for competitive people and a free open game where the score doesn't matter for non-competitive people. Tertiary. So reasons, so it's taken more seriously, there's proper coaching, so teach challenging football skills. Higher, it's at high level and it's not compulsory, so you can choose whether to do it or not and participate. So consequences of this is that because it's not competitive, not compulsory, there's a massive amount of people drop out at this age at like 16, especially girls. It's harder to get people involved and there's less time to play sport due to studies. So solutions at this stage, there could be more extracurricular activities, so there could be more time available to play, so they could open astro or courts so football can be played, more camps and teams sports, so have multiple football teams of different varieties, so different variety of abilities, so different people can play, and have a positive attitude to keep people involved in sport. Higher education, so reasons. So elite level, so it's county football. So as you can see in the picture, there's a Sussex County Football Association ball. They're much higher coaching and refs. As you can see in the picture, they're qualified refs. Players will be able to coach as well as play. So they could go into primary schools and teach football to young kids. Only some extracurricular activities, so main sports like football and rugby and netball. Consequences at higher education is only the very best get coaching, so it's unfair on people who aren't so good but want to work hard to try and get better. It's harder to get involved if you wanted to, but a positive consequence is the best people have a good high chance of succeeding and doing well in their sport. So solutions at this stage, so put on different clubs for different levels, so a beginners football team, medium level group and an advanced group, so each person would feel comfortable in the group they're in. Advertise the sport to get people involved and make sessions more fun because more people will partake like that. So in football they could do a football shootout and people will really enjoy that. So other forms of education, so they could educate athletes, coaches and spectators, so they could have a healthy active lifestyle, so it can improve their nutrition, so people are less likely to be obese, so they'll be happier communities. Also athletes would be less likely to cheat if they're educated, so they'll be better sportsmen, they'd stick to the Olympic oath. They'd be taught bad things like drugs is wrong, and also in football they'd be taught that diving is wrong. Coaches can go on specific courses, so referee courses, so they could referee games on the weekend and they could earn a bit of extra money. So that's the end of education. So I've discussed 4 contemporary issues that are positives and negatives to each of them.